Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Ram Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare वृंदावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की श्रील प्रभुपाद की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome all of you. In today's and tomorrow's session, I am planning to cover two things. Today we will talk about origin of life, and tomorrow we will talk about origin of universe. So these two are the questions which science has very badly fumbled. It has no satisfactory answers, even from the viewpoint of scientists themselves. So today's topic is, did we evolve from branches to benches? As you see the heading here, you are seeing students sitting in a class and the professor is pointing fingers to how the man evolved from the apes. Some of you had question on this, whether it is true or not, whether did man really evolve from apes or not? If not, then how did all the creatures come about? Some of you had asked your question in the previous session, so that will be covered here. So this is a flow chart. This is like a PPT. But only thing is, it will require that you have to be very attentive, because the facts and figures presented are very deep. If you are distracted, we will not be able to catch it. We only have about 50 minutes with us to go for 8 o'clock. I'll finish by sharp 8 o'clock, provided everybody is into it and you understand it. And if you have further questions, you all know I always answer your questions after the lecture is over. We will do that. You see, there's a magazine called Science Digest. In that magazine, it is mentioned this kind of a monkey or ape gradually evolving into a human being. Where did man get this idea? It says it's pure fiction. Science Digest magazine says that. Why it's pure fiction? It is man's figment of his own imagination. There is no evidence for it. You must have seen in our Discovery of Self course, we showed one video clip which says 1911, Piltdown Man. 1953, dismissed. You saw that? Dismissed several skulls, but dismissed. If all the skulls are being dismissed, then where is the link between an ape and a human? It doesn't exist at all. Huh? But they are hoping and praying that they will get some intermediate link. In the event of no intermediate link existing, how can you show this picture of one form evolving into another? There is no evidence to show that fishes which were swimming in the water evolved into a land animal. They came out. There are amphibians like frogs, which can live in water and on land also. But there is no evidence of a fish which is having gills for respiration and fins for steering, changing into the land animal. Instead of the gills, you have the heart. Instead of the fins, you have the hands and legs. There has to be a gradual evolution of the water aquatics to land animal, and such intermediate links are not available at all. So therefore, Darwin's question and Darwin's theory was very greatly challenged. So today it will become very clear to you as we proceed. You can see here the first one, the source of the cosmos. A little bit we'll talk about it also. Please, one of you read it.
Contemporary worldview. Everything originated from a big bang There is no God whatsoever. According to Big Bang theory, everything began from a point of infinite temperature, infinite density, infinitesimal in size that is physically indescribable, mathematically unverifiable, beyond all conceptions of space and time.
I don't know who calls it a scientific theory. Huh? It is mathematically unverifiable because of singularity. It is physically indescribable. It is beyond conception of space and time. And so therefore, they have not eliminated faith. They have only given faith a new garb. So you will find oftentimes many atheistic scientists claim that religion demands faith in God, whereas we prove everything practically with your eyes. Now ask them to prove this, Big Bang Theory. You have never even seen it happening once with your eyes. And they're talking about something that is physically indescribable, mathematically unverifiable, and they're still calling it a scientific theory. See on the right side? Yeah.
Vedic worldview. God created everything and everyone. The very word cosmos means an orderly, harmonious, systematic universe. Dr. Albert Einstein said, I believe in God.
This is not our definition. The cosmos means an orderly, harmonious, systematic universe. This is a Oxford dictionary. You can go to Oxford dictionary and put the word cosmos, you will get. They are defining about the universe like this. Yeah, yes.
I believe in God who reveals himself in the orderly harmony of the universe. I believe that intelligence is manifested throughout all nature. The basics of scientific work is the conviction that the world is an ordered and comprehensible entity and not a thing of a chance. Science must learn to live in harmony with all these magnificent gifts of God to humanity.
So, amongst the scientists, there has been divided opinion. Some scientists they have understood that there is a great intelligence beyond this creation. There's some big brain. Just like with a tiny brain, you do some tiny inventions. There must be a big brain to create such a very big universe, big machine. So Prabhupada called it as an operator of the cosmic machine. You are the sole operator of the bodily machine, and God is the operator of the cosmic machine. So although we may not be able to comprehend him, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If I cannot do something, I can't say God cannot do. That would be utter foolishness, isn't it? I can create a swimming pool. God can create ocean. We can't say that because I can't create an ocean, God also cannot create ocean. That would be that would be foolishness. So in this way, I have shown a table. Let's go ahead. See here. Did everything come from a big bang? And that's what the atheistic scientists thought. Or it came from a big brain. There is somebody from whom everything has emanated. So you can ask yourself, you have a father, and your father had a father. His father had a father also. If you go up. Finally, the father of all your fathers, is it a stone chunk from which everything exploded and came? Or should it be a living person? Think about it. It's called cosmological proof. So if you claim that there was an explosion of a stone, from which my grandfather must have come, and then everything else started. Now also you should be able to scientifically explode a stone and prove that your one more grandfather is coming out. Now also, at least one new parampara should start. Let one grandfather jump out of the stone, and then let him begin another series of human beings, one after another. If you cannot produce it right now, then you can't claim that such a thing happened long before. It is simply eyewash. Therefore, it is understandable. We may not know who that person is, how does he operate, what are his powers. That is our ignorance. But we cannot very confidently say that everything came from nothing unless we are able to prove it. See here, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. Krishna says in the 10.8 Bhagavad Gita. So he's giving us a clue about the origin of universe. Somebody may ask you, where does everything come from? Krishna says, I explain myself as Mahavishnu, as you see here, and I have created all these universes. He says that. Gama vishya bhutani dharayam yahamojasa pushnami chaushadi sarva somo bhutparasatmaka. He's saying, Gama vishya, I enter with my energy into all the planets. Dharayami, and I am holding them. I am holding them. Aham ojasa, by my energy, he's saying. So, just like, for example, I'm holding the Kartal now. I'm holding it. In the same manner, all the planets are held in their particular orbit by some power. You can call it, G, M1, M2 by R square or something, attraction between the planets. So then you have to ask the question, why does that attraction exist? Where did the attraction come from between the planets? It's a kind of magnetic pull, isn't it? Even if it is there also. So somebody has created that. Like Einstein, Newton found out when you throw an apple, when apple falls from a tree, it comes to ground. It doesn't go up in the sky. Why? Because there's a gravitational pull. More intelligent question would be to ask who made that law of gravitational pull. Because every law in this world has a lawmaker behind it. So one should ask the question, who made that law for all the planets to float? So not only God creates this world, he also maintains this world. See, I'm not saying that he maintained this world. I am telling you, he's maintaining this world now. Because, we are not supplying any fuel to the sun. Mind you, are we supplying any fuel to the sun? Are you sending some petrol and diesel so that sun will keep going on? We are not supplying any fuel. And are we making the water get evaporated and turned into rainwater and pouring down? The sun is, sun is showering the rains. Sun is producing grains through the rains. The flowers are blooming. The crops are growing. Everything's happening in the world around us. It's not that God maintained the living beings long before. He's maintaining right now. With any amount of factories, we cannot produce grains or fruits or fruit juices or anything truly, and satisfy all the living beings to their heart's content by the way it's being produced. Yeah. So, okay, let's proceed further. Source of life and its symptoms. Please read it.
Contemporary worldview. The theory of evolution, as is currently prevalent, teaches first, the first living organism developed from non-living matter.
This is not Darwin. 1 minute. This is not Darwin. The first one is spoken by Dawkins in the 18th century. Actually, Darwin was honest. Darwin said the absolute creator must have created one or two living forms, like that he said. And I will only tell you, he said, how they might have evolved one after another, like the Darwin said. Darwin was honest about that. He said the living forms are highly complex. They can't come from nothing. They should be originally created by some great creator. He admitted that. From that point of view, Darwin is not an atheist. I think probably I sent a couple of quotes on Darwin. I can show you what Darwin says. You can see yourself. Just a minute. Yeah, I can see these quotes. I can read it. See, only the Darwin you read, second and third one.
Okay. The question of whether there exists a creator and ruler of the universe has been answered in the affirmative by some of the highest intellects that have ever existed.
Affirmative means yes. He says it is answered in the affirmative means yes, there is a creator and ruler, he's saying. By some of the highest intellectuals that have ever existed, he says. Okay, and the next one?
Another source of conviction in the existence of God. This follows from the extremely difficult or rather impossibility of conceiving this immense and wonderful universe, including man. When thus reflecting, I fail, compelled to look to a first cause having an intelligent mind, and I deserve to be called a theist.
Yeah. So this is writing, when he's writing his autobiography, which means he is not an atheist, surely. He has accepted there is a creator who created the first one or two living forms. And then he's talking about evolution. Even evolution is a correct word, actually, because the soul also evolves from one body to another. There are millions of forms. They evolve. But what evolves is the Atma, the soul moving from one body to second body, third body, fourth body. Like you evolve from a bicycle, tricycle to a bicycle, bicycle to a scooter, and scooter to a car, and car to a chartered plane, like that. So the driver is moving, not that the tricycle, you break one of the wheels and make it bicycle. And then you're going in the bicycle, suddenly it starts becoming a scooter. We have to go to college faster. It starts going fast, isn't it? And suddenly, Your bike becomes a Maruti car, and Maruti starts developing wings and starts flying up. That doesn't happen. The vehicles don't change. Vehicles remain the same, but the driver is moving from one vehicle to another. Yeah, please go ahead. So now this Dawkins is an atheist. Actually, Dawkins was the first fellow who said neo-Darwinism. What is neo-Darwinism? Dawkins thought that as long as you give any credit to God, then the other people will not respect science sufficiently. So he wanted to take God out of the scene. So he was the one who proposed this first point. The first living organism developed from a non-living matter. Okay, go ahead.
Then, as it reproduced, it is said to have changed into different kinds of living beings, producing ultimately all forms of life that have ever existed on Earth, including humans. And all of this is believed to have been accomplished without intelligent direction.
Yeah, on the right side.
Vedic worldview. Chemicals do not produce life, life produces chemicals. Example, an ordinary lemon tree produces tons of citric acid. From citric acid, no scientist has produced a lemon tree. Source of life symptoms come from soul, the driver of the material bodily machine.
Yeah. So for these 4 points written on the left side, I will send one article to Vaibhav Prabhu. You all can read it yourself. About the Dawkins was asked a question. Actually, the 5-step process that he's talking about, I don't want to get into that. It will take time. Like he says that in the beginning of creation, what must have happened? There was ocean and there was a sandy beach. There must have been some primordial soup. You ask him, where did that soup come from? He has no clue. There must have been somehow some primordial soup. If the primordial soup is inside the water, it will undergo polymerization. Depolymerization. If it is outside, it will be evaporated by the cosmic rays. So he says either way, it cannot go to the next stage. He says, but somehow or other it must have gone to the next stage. Let us not get stuck here. He says. Then he go inside. Then after that, he talks about the forming of DNA. So there are 5 steps in that. I will give you the notes. You can go through it yourself. You will see that all the 5 steps are failure in that. So, but if any of you has some knowledge of such kinds of things, a little bit of chemistry mixed with knowledge of the evolution things, you will enjoy that article. I will send that PDF to him and you all can go through it. If you have this book, Your Secret Journey, first 3 lessons I devoted to that. First 3 lessons. One lesson on chemical evolution theory, how it is bogus. That was one full lesson on that. And another one, did man evolve from branches to benches? That was the second lesson. And so in this way, those 3 lessons will thoroughly answer these kind of questions. Now, it is beyond the scope of this short session. Therefore, I'm not elaborating it here. Okay. Next one. On this, this part, if you ask a question, you all saw this and discover yourself, correct now? What's your identity? As we have shown here, the yellow one is the soul, which is real you. And you have 2 coverings over you. You are wearing a banyan and a shirt. Similarly, you have a subtle body and a gross body. And the gross body stops functioning. It is called death, we call it. And the subtle body continues with the soul, birth after birth after birth. Why? Because subtle body is the microprocessing device where you store all your desires. And then you get a gross body, which is like servo motors, to give shape to the desires stored in the subtle body. So gross body is a gross instrument or a precipitate of the subtle body, we can say that. So that you can give shape to the desires stored in the subtle body. And when your subtle body becomes free from all desires, then subtle body also stops functioning after that. That's called moksha, we call it. Then the soul is liberated. So the gross body stopping to act happens in 70, 80 years. And subtle body may be in this world for millions of years. When subtle body becomes free from all material desires, then it's called moksha. You go to Brahma Jyoti. But if the soul revives his original nature, muktir hitva anyata rupam swarupena vyavasthiti, then he enters into the Vaikuntha and relates with Lord Krishna personally, one-on-one. That is called Swarupya Siddhi. So 3 stages: ordinary death, and then moksha or mukti, and then Swarupya Siddhi. That is ultimate platform of the soul. Okay. These things you have seen. How when a person dies, the soul comes out and all that. Okay. Now we are talking about what is life and what is death. Okay. Yeah, please read it.
Contemporary worldview. In his book, The Selfish Gene, Richard Dawkins speculates that in the beginning, The Earth had an atmosphere composed of carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, and water. Through energy supplied by sunlight and perhaps by lightning and exploding volcanoes, these simple compounds were broken and reformed into amino acids, accumulated in the sea, and combined into protein like compounds, became the organic soup, but still lifeless. Then, according to Dawkins' description, a particularly remarkable molecule was formed by an accident, a molecule that had the ability to produce itself. Thus, it is claimed the first living cell generated itself.
Yeah, this is a speculation. Very high sounding words. Put some names of chemicals. Say some very nice, nicely worded sentences. It appears very mystical for you. Read the Vedic worldview.
Soul is life. When soul enters a material body, then life symptoms are observed. When soul leaves the material body, then life symptoms are gone. Scientists have not produced life from chemicals. Example 1. Rationalist Association atheist Dr. Kuhur was given $60,000 to produce life and he could not produce, which was published in Sunday Times. Example 2.
There was one, Abraham, Dr. Kovoor. He was living in Sri Lanka. When first time Hare Krishna devotees went there, he ridiculed them in a newspaper, saying that these are all sentimentally superstitious people and they're spreading Hinduism and things like that. So little did he know that the team which went to Lanka, there was one very great scientist in that Hare Krishna team. His name was Hamsaduta Prabhu. So then Hamsaduta Prabhu took the challenge in the newspaper and he challenged him back, asking a question about, you're talking about, everything came from matter. You are an atheist. We challenge you. Can you produce a small mosquito? At least a tiny mosquito. You make and show it. Then there was back and forth, argument between them. So he gave Vedic worldview and he gave atheistic view. And the letters are coming back and forth. Everything was published in newspaper. Thousands and thousands of people watching. Who is going to win? After almost like 8 or 10 letters, if you want to read them all, you can go to a book called as Life Comes from Life. In that appendix, you will see all those letters are there. What they both were writing back and forth. Very interesting it is. Life comes from life. You can see that. And then finally, our devotee, Hamsaduta Prabhu, told him that I have given you so many evidences in all my letters. Now let us have an ultimatum. ISKCON will give you 1 crore rupees. If you produce one mosquito or one ant in front of 2,000 people, you have to show it. Come, take a dead matter, take a stone, and from that produce an ant. If you can produce something like that, we will be. So this fellow was bluffing. He said, no, tell your God to produce. He was telling. God is already producing. God is producing millions of mosquitoes. God is producing millions of dogs, millions of humans. And you are saying, God, let God produce. God is already producing. But you have not produced. You claim that things have started from matter. Now you have to show it. Otherwise, you are bluffing. God is not bluffing. God is saying that, without soul, the dead matter is matter. Jada and Chetan. Shastra said about it millions and millions of years ago. It's not a new thing. It's not today or yesterday we are talking about it. Million years ago, Shastras have said there are 2 things in this world. There is Jada and Chetan. Chetan means Atma or Paramatma. They both are Chetan. And Jada Prakriti cannot move. If an aeroplane is standing in an airport, million years it will not move unless you have a pilot who is Chetan Vastu. He enters into the cockpit and then a plane takes off. Otherwise, the Jada Prakriti cannot function on its own. Even if you have automated car, which has no driver, it appears to be moving on its own. It's controlled from a control room by a Chetan Jiva. You will see that. Nowhere you will find Jada Prakriti moving. Even the robo movement they show, like they make a dog like robo. You've seen that, no? It's moving front to back. It appears for people, hey, what is this? Scientists have made some life, but a Chetan Jiva is operating it. Correct, no? A conscious Jiva is controlling, just like you have this drone camera you have seen, no? You have the handle in your hand. From there, you press the button remote, and then therefore it flies. What is so wonder in that? It is. I don't see it as any greater than when I was a small boy, my father got me a car, and he would give the key, chirk, 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 and he would leave it. Car will go, and I'll be running behind the car. How my father made a magic. So this drone camera is no better than that. Is it not true? Is it any superior to that? Tell me. It is simply same way. Even the automated cars are no better than the children play with the car. For me, there is nothing more serious than that. So unless the Chetan Jeev interferes with matter, matter cannot budge 1 inch, even for 1,000,000 years. So Shastras are crystal clear in this. There is not even an iota of ambiguity. Look at this fellow. How much anxiety? Maybe this, maybe that, a particular remarkable molecule came, some accident took place, something came, and why don't that something produce now? He can't do that something right now. He's simply bluffing. He's fooling everybody and fooling himself also. This is the meaning of an atheist. Their speech has no base at all. Yeah. Read further. So that was about Kovur. His nose was cut in the public. He didn't even show up. Later on, the newspaper people told, see, you challenged him, he challenged you. But finally, in the ultimate challenge, you both of you came up to a point where Abraham Kovur, this Dr. Kovur was defeated because he couldn't accept the challenge of the other side. Okay, go ahead. Second one.
Example 2. In the book Biology Today, Nobel Prize winning chemist Albert Guerri remarked, in my search for the secret of life, I ended up with atoms and electrons, which have no life at all. Somewhere along the line, life ran out through my fingers. So in my old age, I am now retracing my steps.
Yeah. See, who is this fellow? This Saint Georgi. He tried to create semen with chemicals. So because he understood under the microscope, what is the structure of the semen? It's possible now to find out. You take human semen, put it under electron microscope and study it. What type of cells are there? What is there? What is the composition of that? And he simulated the same, making it in a laboratory with chemicals. And then he thought if it could be injected in a woman's body and if it produces life, then we can say that with chemicals we can produce life. So he said everything was similar except that the semen comes from a male body was having life and this was not having life. Therefore, he's saying that life ran out of my fingers. Like that he is saying. Yeah. Matter is matter, spirit is spirit. Yeah. Go ahead.
Swamiji, I think our body is just a complex machine that gets worn out and crashes. Why should we bother about some soul powering the body? Does your car or computer grow? Do you have a male or female car that can unite and produce a baby car? A living body undergoes 6 changes, whereas matter just depreciates. It is the soul that makes living body alive.
Yeah. So, yes, it's the soul that makes a living body alive. So these are the three major differences you see between what is Chetan, what is Jada. Yeah, read it. First, living body undergoes,
6 changes, while matter only dwindles. Second,
you know what are 6 changes? 6 changes means birth, growth, production of byproducts, maintenance, dwindling, and death. So like a small elephant, you all have seen baby elephant, you've seen how it grows very big. You've seen that because matter grows over the soul. Take a small banyan tree seed. What a huge banyan tree comes out of it because matter grows over the soul. Same principle. Even your body, look at it. When you are newly born, were you so big? You were a small baby, that contained 2 hands. Now look at your body. Matter has grown over you, over the soul, isn't it? So you find growth and then dwindling and decay. Whereas the stable, does it grow bigger and bigger? Like you got a Maruti, it becomes like Innova slowly. Have you ever seen that Maruti becoming like Innova car, big car? It doesn't become. Matter doesn't grow. Matter only depreciates. If body were only matter, it will only depreciate. But because soul is present, it grows, then produces byproducts, then dwindles and decays. Again, 6 changes you will see. Second one.
A male and female living body can multiply similar species. Machines can't reproduce by union.
That point we said already. Yeah, third one.
Living body has consciousness, thinking, feeling, willing, while matter has no consciousness.
Yes. Now, some of you may have a question. What about chess that a computer plays? Seems the computer also has the thinking ability. But if you very carefully study artificial intelligence, you will see expert systems. In my college days, one of the boys was doing expert system for the automobile, troubleshooting. So what he did, he got 20 best fellows in the country who are experts in automobile. And he took their brain, everything, he put it in a shell and then made an AI program. So that AI program can be kept in any garage shop. If a car is brought, the computer program will ask you, please test the spark plug. Please test the combustion chamber. Please test the engine. Is this problem there? Is that problem there? If this, and this are there, then this is what you have to do. Correct now? So what is this? This is called not artificial intelligence. I call it as borrowed brain. It is nothing short of borrowed brain. That's all. You take the brain of the best intelligentsia available in the country now and put it in a shell. And then you are saying computer is thinking. Who said computer is thinking? For example, if computer is having a, say, object identification machine. So, for example, I am showing a kartal like this. It says, oh, it's round, it says, isn't it? Now, can't I make the program say, whenever you see like this, you should call it square. What the computer will do? It will call it square. Is it not true? So, where is it identifying? There's no identifying. It has no intelligence to think on its own. You have programmed it to say something. Like computers, as soon as you switch on the computer, good morning, sir. Like that, some computers say that, correct, no? Because you're programmed to say so. If you program the computer to say, you rascal, if you say, as soon as you put in, it'll say, you rascal, it'll say. Correct? Whatever you have programmed, it'll say that. Doesn't make any, computer has no consciousness. It has no sense at all. So therefore, one can clearly see that the thinking, feeling, willing, these things are nowhere there in Jada. For example, can a computer say how beautiful a girl is? Can it say? But you can say when you see. Similarly, when you, can a computer say how fragrant a flower is? Can it say, you take a flower and put on the screen, hey, computer, tell me how fragrant it is? It cannot say, a robot cannot say how fragrant it is. Can a computer appreciate the beautiful Hindustani music? The sweetness of the music? Yeah. Can it appreciate a gulab jamun? So these are Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. Computers no consciousness. Robots have no consciousness. Yeah. So these are the 6 changes. Yeah. 6 changes. Already I showed you this. Yeah. Okay, Krishna taught this. And you all have seen this. I will not detail this. You have seen it in the device course. Ein Stevenson, Shukla, you all have heard about it. So he says from the same egg, these twins have come. Therefore, genetically they are same, but behaviorally they are different. He says, why behaviorally different? Because 2 souls have occupied the 2 bodies. Yeah. And innumerable books on reincarnation, you will see. So at the time of death, what happens? Like Krishna gives example of a dress. Like we change our dress and wear a new dress tomorrow. Like that, the soul also leaves one body and goes to a new body later. Yeah. In this way, we keep changing the bodies. So, yeah. Okay, let us go to the topic of ancestors now. Yeah. Read it.
Contemporary worldview. Your ancestors were apes who gradually evolved into primitive Stone Age men and finally the most advanced modern man.
Now you read the right side.
Vedic worldview. Your ancestors were socially, politically, religiously civilized and cultured humans created by God.
Yeah. See, according to Vedas, the first father, founding father for this world is Brahmaji, the first son of the Lord. And then from Brahma, he creates 10 sons. See, Brahma has a mystic power by which he is able to produce sons. From the thumb, he produced Daksha. From the ears, he produced Pulastya. God awarded him special Shakti and intelligence and knowledge also he gave him. How to do that? By using certain mantra chant, one can do that. So he created 10 sons. And then subsequently wanted the population to be increased. But then millions of jivas want to come. How Brahma can produce to these people? Then he actually was praying to Lord, give me. And Lord actually using Brahma's body only, he created 2 creatures. One is called Swayambhava Manu with a mustache. And another one is called Shatarupa with a swollen breast. It is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So there was one with a swollen breast is female form. And one with a mustache is male form. And Brahma saw in front of him how God created. He just couldn't ascertain. He saw suddenly from Brahma's body only Lord took up pieces and then he created them, male and female. He saw them uniting and they produced 5 children. Devhuti, Akuti, Prasuti are the 3 younger sisters. And the 2 elder brothers are Swayambhava Manu and Swayambhava Manu and Shatarupa are the mother and father. Priyavrata and Uttanapad. So Priyavrat, Uttanapad, Devhuti, Akuti, Prasuti. These 5 were produced from Swayambhava Manu and Shatarupa, created by God. And then this is how the first family came. Then you will find so Lord awarded him this facility. After that, the Devahuti, she was married to Kardama Muni. So Brahma had created 10 other creatures. So now I will tell you tomorrow more about it. I will tell you how the creation came about in this world. But actually everything begins with a highly cultured, highly evolved, Sanskrit speaking, Sanskrita Bhasha, Deva Bhasha, it is said. And they all used to talk in Sanskrit with each other. So the world began not with Stone Age, or apes turning into human. So according to the modern man, the most evolved man is who? Currently, we are the most evolved, according to the understanding. Whereas according to Vedas, we are not the, currently it's a degrading age actually. Brahma and others are speaking in Sanskrit. Today, many people cogently cannot write even Devanagari, many people don't know. And what is because speaking in Sanskrit. Not only that, if you see the culture, even I have eaten in a silver plate in my home when I was a small kid. Today, people are eating in paper plates now, isn't it? I have seen my own mother, wearing a golden nose ring and earring studded with diamond. But now I am seeing, girls wearing all plastics, plastic earring, plastic nose ring, plastic things on their head. You hardly see gold and silver nowadays, correct? No? Therefore, there's a book called as Human Devolution, not Evolution. Actually, what has happened from the dawn of creation now is devolution, degradation, not evolution of improvement. Man is imagining himself to be very advanced. Earlier we were primitive, we were in Stone Age. Now we have become very advanced. He's thinking simply because he has some electronic gadgets and everything. That doesn't make one very evolved. One has to see a total picture. And besides that, Sanskrit is actually the Matrubhasha and the mother language for all the languages, if you see. Like, for example, Mata in Sanskrit becomes mother in English. Pita becomes peter in Latin. And then in English, it becomes father. Similarly, Swasra becomes sister. Brata becomes brother, if you see. And Sanskrit Tattva in English becomes Toto. It's all copying from Sanskrit. All languages are copied from Sanskrit. There are two types of copying. One is called Tat Sama, Tat Bhava. Tat Bhava means as it is, you adapt the word from Sanskrit. Tat Sama means equivalent word with slight change. So if Sanskrit is, in fact, in computers, they say Sanskrit is the best language to use in a computer because it has got all the vowels and consonants in all the languages of the world. Whereas in certain languages like Chinese language, their word Ra is not there. Hale Lama, Hale Lama, Lama Lama, Hale Hale, like that they will say. After coming to ISKCON only, they learned the word Ra, Hare Rama. So there are languages where some letters are only missing. But if Sanskrit is considered a language which encompasses all the languages of the world, and if Sanskrit was spoken by people millions of years ago, then how can you consider them primitive? Is it not a common sense question? Think about it. Yeah. So that's the second point. Now we read the second point.
Origin of civilization gradual, arising out of crude, brutish beginnings.
On the right side.
Civilization complex to begin with. Any cave dweller were contemporary with civilization.
Cave dwellers are there now also. Now, if you see, both types of people are there. It's not, can the modern man say all the tribals and cave dwellers have become evolved as Cro-Magnon man, and now there is no more primitive man? Can you say that? Even now you see, both types of people, tribals are also there. They're living one type of lifestyle, and the cultured people are also there. Since dawn of creation, it has been like that because they are one class, Nishada, for example, and they are that class. There is Chandala, there is Mlecha, there is Yavana. Depending on the type of food they eat, depending on the culture with which they live, they are all categorized in proper set. First class, second class, third class, fourth class are all within Varnashrama. Fifth onwards, they are called Antyaja, outside Varnashrama. So fifth class, sixth class, seventh class, even beyond 10th class also it's there, he said. So all those people are there all the time. Not that, like, for example, Shastras say in Mongolia Pradesh is a place where people eat dogs. And they were eating dog million years ago, now also they're eating. Same place. You will find Turkey, Mongolia, China. If you see whatever Shastra says are true now also. Yeah. Not that man has become evolved now. And nobody eats dogs now. Nobody eats cows now. Now they're eating even more also than before. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
Language evolved from simple animal sounds into complex modern languages.
Yeah, now man is thinking that our language, what we are speaking, English is most evolved. But English is not the most evolved language at all. Because if you see PUT is what? BUT is? Just say. Therefore, you will find in Sanskrit, you will find. In English, for example, you want to call your father, Papa, you come, you say. And you want to tell a child, you come. So there is no difference between the child you and the father you. Whereas in Sanskrit, you will say, Tvam means you. Bhavan means respectable you. In Hindi also you say, hey, tu ah, when you say. That is for a very small kid, you may say. Tum aavo, it is little better. Aap aiye. Again, you say, is there a difference or not? Yeah, you will see that. So you will find Sanskrit is the most refined language. And because Hindi is close to Sanskrit, it is also catching some of those refined things. And other languages like English, you can't claim it to be very great because it is not very close to Sanskrit. The farther you go from Sanskrit, the language becomes primitive and they claim it to be most advanced. That's a joke. Is it not true? Yeah. And these things about Darwin, you have already seen. In the device course, we have shown it for you. And Darwin talking about how a bear wanting some mosquitoes went into the river, opening the mouth, and he turned into a whale. He said, no? Yeah, he's writing that. He's opened the mouth, shouting and going to catch the mosquitoes, and it became a whale, he says. Looks like a very nice, funny story. Huh? You also must have heard about giraffe, how the giraffe, it could not browse because the leaves went up. So those giraffes which could not get the leaf by having long enough a neck, what happened to them? He says they became, extinct. They could not exist. So many scientists only asked questions to Darwin. They said, can't the giraffes eat grasses on the ground? Were they having ego problem to bend their neck to eat the grass? And there were other quadrupeds like deers and all. What were they doing? Were they trying to browse the tree and stretching their neck? Isn't it? If the deers are eating, other giraffes can tell the giraffe, okay, your neck is too long, you eat from the top, I'll eat from the ground. That way, for drinking water, anyway, they have to put the neck down only. Isn't it? So these questions are common sense questions many scientists asked, which Darwin couldn't answer. Yeah. Similarly, man coming from apes gives an idea that earlier there were only apes, there were no humans. According to Darwin, the evolved human beings started coming from 10,000 years ago or something. Whereas if you see, now there are skulls. You should read the book Hidden History of Human Race. That's a book by Michael Cremo. You can read that book. It gives millions and millions of years ago, human beings have existed. There are skulls available. In fact, what was happening all across the globe, after Darwin wrote the theory, anybody got a recording of a human skull pretty long ago before what Darwin said. They actually put it in the go down. They thought because it doesn't match with Darwin. Whatever Michael Cremo did, he went and picked up all those skulls. And then he presented a counter evidence to Darwin. And that is how he brought the book Human Devolution, as well as Hidden History of the Human Race. And that movie became very popular internationally. All across the globe, he has gone around. Yeah. Okay, now let's come to the goal of life. Read it.
Contemporary worldview. The goal of life is the pursuit and attainment of material comforts and pleasures. Vedic worldview.
Yeah.
The goal of life is to realize the self and God. This brings unlimited bliss and makes material comforts and pleasures seems insignificant.
Yeah. Yeah. Read further. Finish it that left side. Yeah.
Money is honey. One who dies with maximum toys is a winner.
This is the understanding. So when Isolan Jayapataka Maharaj heard this statement, he laughed and said, that means they are saying one who dies with maximum toys is a winner. Means if you have a big bungalow, you have a big car, you have your own chartered plane, you have a big bank balance, and then you die, they say you are a winner in life. So Maharaj said that means even while dying, they are still talking of maximum toys. You are selling, they are still very childish, you are selling. Only children want toys. How foolish they are. See, you are accumulating and leaving it and going. Where are you a winner? Are you a winner or a loser? They imagine they are winners foolishly. On the other hand, see the right side. The scriptures say there are 5 stages. Annamaya means a newborn child simply want to drink the breast milk of the mother and go to sleep. Again, drink breast milk, go to sleep. That's Annamaya stage. And Pranamaya means after he crosses 5 or 6, now he wants to move out, jump, jog, because he's growing now. So that time he competes with the world around. That's called Pranamaya stage. And while competing, certain things are not achievable by the teenage boy. Then he dreams about it. He says, dream job, dream girl, dream this, dream that. Therefore, it's Manomaya stage. Dreams and dreams for ambitions like that. And then even after getting a certain type of job, promotion, making money, he really struggles in life, in the rat race of life, gets extremely tired. And then at that time, he starts thinking, क्यों इस दुनिया बनाया, किसने बनाया, who has made this world? मैं क्यों रहता हूँ? What am I supposed to do? Vijnanamaya. As he researches more, he comes to understand, I am not the body, I am the soul. That knowledge comes to him. When all of you, you in Vijnanamaya, you also researched why this world is existing. Is it existing without any rhyme or reason? Or there is some purpose and goal of life? Now I am struggling in this life. Am I supposed to struggle and work hard and earn money and then leave it in the bank and die one day? And somebody else will enjoy the money. I can't enjoy it. So therefore, then one researches, then one understands that the living thing is a different thing. Dead matter is different. Jada and Chetan, you understand. And then one understands, okay, now I understood I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Then what is the goal of the soul? Where is the soul supposed to go? Soul is again and again taking birth. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Is it supposed to keep going like this? And then one understands there is a heaven, but heaven, Punya gets over, you come back. Beyond the heaven, there is a Brahma Jyoti, where you can attain Shanti, but that's not the ultimate, because from there also jivas come down. But what is the ultimate goal? Then one understands the super soul. The Premaya Sambandha between soul and super soul, loving relation. That is coming to Anandamaya stage. Then one is joyful with God. God is my real friend. So in this way, Vedic worldview gives a clear-cut goal of life. The goal is not just accumulate money. The goal is not just to eat and sleep and mate and defend. On the left side, you find there is no clear-cut goal. You are taught that you are a chemical bundle. Eat, sleep, eat, drink, and be merry. Fight your best with everybody. Pull others' leg, bite others, beat others. Some or other survive in life. One day you die, and that is the end of your life. That is the left side. What you cite as under the worldview, they have no goal in life. Like you see here, this is their life. Why this is their life? Because they have no goal. Go to McDonald's and eat all kinds of dirty things, smoke and drink and roam with anybody, change a dozen partners, just accumulate money. This is their life. Just look at, objectively view their life, what type of life it is. Yeah, please read it.
When we forget God, we become mad after the glitter and glamour of the material world and consider what is suffering to be an enjoyment.
Yeah.
Lord Krishna taught Arjuna all secrets of life, as well as the wisdom to attain everlasting happiness.
Yeah.
What happens when we act morally or immorally? Contemporary worldview. You are not accountable for whatever you do. You can get away from the consequences if you are clever enough. Vedic worldview. Vedic worldview. You are accountable for your every act. The law of karma is an infallible justice. Karma, vikarma, akarma.
Yeah. So on the left side, you find, because this is their map, they are shamelessly saying that you can cut the throat of others, you can walk over the head of others, you don't care for others, be selfish. And if you're clever in this world, you can be a winner. Correct, no? Survival of the fittest. So you just be a very fit and very powerful person. Just, that means you live, let others perish. So this is a principle they are teaching, but Vedas are teaching Jio, Jinido. Sarve janaha sukhino bhavantu, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhavavet. What is the meaning of this? May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous become tranquil. May the tranquil become free. May those who are free set others free. This is the meaning of this. Such an amazing verse it is. Okay, look at the world around you. Okay, somebody is beautiful, somebody is not so beautiful. Somebody is handsome, somebody is ugly. Somebody is stinking rich. You see, they're eating in some star hotel or something. See here, very poverty-stricken family, poor family. They don't have water, food, nothing. Somebody becomes an MD doctor. Somebody is a coolie. See how much weight he is lifting on his back. So who decides? So this also you have seen in the DYS course, isn't it? See, we choose a job or a spouse or a car or apartment. These things are chosen by us. But we don't choose. Did you choose your parents or did you choose your face cut? Think about it. Did you cut your face yourself? It's cut and given to you, isn't it? Your pigment of your skin, did you choose it? Many of the Indians want to be fair, but did you become fair or black by your choice? You will see that this is awarded to you. You will see our intelligence also. There are boys who are more intelligent than us, someone less intelligent. These are all awarded to us. So who chooses on what basis? Is it by chance? So then we have shown that law of making, all these different laws have a lawmaker. So this also should have a birth, beauty, intelligence also should have a lawmaker. I didn't read the heading, yeah.
What type of life, contemporary or Vedic outlook, brings for individuals and for the world?
Yeah.
Contemporary leads to eat, drink, and be merry philosophy, which results in exploitation and disharmony. Vedic worldview leads to life of inner satisfaction, which is in harmony with nature and the maker of nature, God.
Yeah. Nature is mother, God is father. When you align with both mother and father, nature and God, you lead a very peaceful, happy life. So my special master used to say, we all are looking for eco-friendly environment and ego-friendly relationships. So recently I saw one boy wearing a t-shirt, live eco and leave ego. That was a slogan he was wearing. Live eco means live in green environment, and live ego means be friendly with everybody. So on the other hand, on the left side, you find eat, drink, and be merry, selfish culture. Yeah. Read the below one. Yeah.
Fuels immortality, greed, corruption, etc. Thus, criminalism, cutthroat competition.
Immorality.
Fuels immorality, greed, corruption, etc. Thus, criminalism, cutthroat competition for money, illicit behavior, etc. shoot up, increasing the vigilance and punishing work for government. Vedic worldview inspires a life of principles like morality, satisfaction, honesty, etc. Builds God-centered communities of people with love, trust, and mutual respect.
Yeah, you all have come to Utkarsh camp. You can easily understand this. You can see for yourself what type of happy life devotees are leading compared to the life outside. You compare it yourself. I don't have to tell you about this. Yeah. So on what basis the soul is awarded the next body? Krishna says, according to the bhav that we have developed. See, you will see even among trees, there are thorny trees and there are mango trees. Mango trees are pious trees. Thorny trees are cut down and used only for fire wood, for like a firewood. Similarly, amongst animals also, there's a dog which is an ordinary creature, but there's a lion which is a mighty creature. Imagine if a lion and dog are coming in the road, will you be afraid of the dog so much? But lion comes, you will run away, isn't it? So it's a mighty creature. In the same manner, there is swan and the crows. You can see the difference between the two. So depending on what karma we have done and what bhavana we carry, accordingly we get the bodies, all types of bodies. Yeah. Yeah. When a man ignores God's laws and engages in sinful acts, he suffers, like here it's shown here. He's developing the bhava. Accordingly, he gets the next body. You can see this. So, yeah, people indulging in sinful activity, they get accordingly bodies. Yeah. They degrade to lower forms. And if you're reading according to the religious principles, you develop higher bodies. You go up. Yeah. That's all I'm concluding with this. You all have sung this song before. We will conclude with this song. I am a tiny jiva, not the ultimate God, but a tiny part and parcel, servant of the Lord, leaving Lord's company, forced to be born in pain, in the world filled with agony, again and again. Krishna is my Lord, the source of all existence. His form is imperishable, full of six opulences. He pays a visit to this world out of his own sweet will to please and protect his devotees and punish the evil. I am only Brahman, but Krishna is Para Brahman. My power is limited. His potencies are unlimited. I can make a swimming pool. God creates oceans. I can fly a rocket, but Lord floats huge planets. I can invent a dome light, but God creates moonlight. We make ordinary dolls, but Lord made us all. Prabhupada ki. So now, as I told you, some 2-3 PDFs I will be sending you all on Darwin's theory and elaboration, because I only spoke it briefly here, but the PDFs will give it more elaborately. I made this especially for teaching all of you, because I felt that giving a very exhaustive lecture would not be of interest to everybody. But what I gave you must be very easy for you to grasp, I think, correct, no? Yeah. But much more elaborate. For example, the so-called evolution they're talking about. Recently, one scientist said, we have something called adaptation. Even this corona is adapting now. Delta variant is coming, if you see like that. But that doesn't change the species. Dog may be long dog, sometimes a tall dog, sometimes a tiny dog or a motor dog. But the dogs always remain dogs only. Flies always remain flies only. So to stretch this adaptation principle to say that the species only changes is a figment of our own imagination. every species is rigidly fixed. 8.4 million species, as mentioned in Padma Purana. Therefore, if you want to know more such things and all, there is a very elaborate article I am going to send you. I will send it to Vaibhav Prabhu, and we will, my video man will put it. You all can read it. Usually, depending on your interest level, you can read it deeply. Okay. Then tomorrow's class, I will start with the creation, how the Lord created this universe, step by step by step. Amazing it is. So scientific, based on Sankhya philosophy. I'll speak that tomorrow. If you had any questions in today's session, you are welcome to write to them in the Google Sheet. I'll be answering them in the coming week and responding them in a separate video. Some of you said that, Prabhu, why don't you answer it in the class itself? But it takes time and we won't be able to fit all your question answers within the scope of the class. Therefore, I'm separately answering in a video. Okay. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna. So we would like to heartily thank Prabhuji for so wonderfully explaining to all of us in such a short time the origin of about the origin of life. And tomorrow Prabhuji will be sharing about origin of universe. So tomorrow's session will be at 4:30. So kindly be on time for tomorrow's session. And day after tomorrow we have a very special session from a very special speaker. So be ready for that also. So let us end today's session by thanking Prabhuji by loudly chanting one time. Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhu.